Hello. So today's discussion is the pros and cons of fighting with your partner. Is there anything good about fighting with your partner? Is it normal? Is it healthy? And is there anything you should know about what might be damaging your relationship with fighting? I'm Shauna White, spiritually awake couple relationship coach, however you want to say it, effortless intimacy coach, that too. So, the reason I'm talking about this today is because I've run across a number of people, um, both in Facebook posts and people that I'm speaking with and people that I'm helping with their relationship, who are experiencing a tremendous amount of fighting in their relationship. And one person was asking, what do I need to do to make things better? I think a date night is in order. And meanwhile, her boyfriend is like burnt out and numb. And I can understand why she might come up with the idea that a date night is what's needed, in the sense that um, she can see that they need connection. But the thing is that you can't just pretend and go straight to connection from that kind of a breakdown. Um, but the other thing is that she didn't seem to think that there's anything wrong with the fighting. And so that's why I want to come out here and talk about this today. It is not necessary to fight. So you can actually have a rich relationship with no fighting. Because you can have, if you have the depth of self-awareness skills and communication skills, you can actually have discussions instead of fights. Fights come from when things get emotionally charged up and the emotion escalates to the point where there's a bit of an outburst. There's torpedoes going back and forth, energy torpedoes going back and forth in the conversation. And it actually reminds me of, I used to ride horses quite a bit. And one of the thoughts that I came away from my experience of riding horses with is, people would look at horses, they buck, they rear, whatever, not all the time, but when they do that, oh, they're just being bad, right? Well, what I thought to myself is, geez, my communication with the horse, by the time they buck, so many things have gone wrong in the communication that caused an outburst in the form of a buck. It's the same thing with fighting in your relationship. If a fight breaks out, so to speak, it's because so many things have already gone wrong in the communication that now the emotional energy has built up and there's an outburst, or there's a thrashing, or a missile being sent in the in communication. There's two layers. There's the verbal layer, which hits us at the mental level, creates pictures to try to understand what somebody's saying. It's like the subject matter of the conversation. And then there's the energetic information, and that's where the emotional channel of communication takes place. That's where the torpedoes happen. So you could say something that sounds innocent if you just look at the words, but the energy, the inflection, the tone that you use could be sending a dart or a missile over to your partner. So the first thing I want to say, okay, I mean, not first, I've already said some things, but yes, there are pros to having challenges in your relationship. Because challenges we always want to grow together. And if we're too comfortable, if things are too pleasant, always pleasant all the time, we may not be growing. We may just be coasting. So challenge and challenging each other in the ways that come up organically and feel natural for our growth process together and individually, that's extremely healthy. And having arguments with our partner can fit into that category as long as it doesn't get too out of hand. But it's really, really not necessary to argue. And I think that not arguing and not fighting starts with a commitment to that's just not how I will behave. But then on top of that, it takes awareness skills and communication skills, like I said, to find how to communicate with your partner in a way that that actually gets to the questions and the issues that are at hand, because we can't cover them up and we can't ignore them. That doesn't work. So we do want to talk about them, but we want to talk about them peacefully. And the main thing that I want to bring home here is that if we do, people care about each other deeply, they love each other deeply, and that contributes to the emotional pain that people can go through when things aren't working in the relationship. But fighting adds a whole new layer of emotional pain and intensity to the emotional pain. And that wears people out. Her boyfriend is burnt out and numb. That is not good. That is a lot of fights that led to that place. And the trouble with normalizing fighting and thinking that that's an okay thing to do is that the loss of gentleness that happens in your relationship from the fighting causes a loss of emotional safety and a loss of trust between you and your partner. So how can you, it's counterproductive to deep growth, the deep growth that a relationship can um, facilitate for us spiritually as individuals and together in deep, heartfelt connection and intimacy. Fighting destroys the emotional safety that is needed to go deep together. So if there is a pattern of fighting, if there's any fighting going on in your relationship, if there's, God forbid, a lot of fighting going on in your relationship, I highly, highly recommend that you get some help, because if there's a lot of fighting, that probably means that you don't know how to deal with the situation at hand in a peaceful, gentle way. And if you care about your relationship, you care about your own health, because that level of emotional intensity is really stressful, and stress has a real footprint that's deleterious to health. So you care about your health, you care about your emotional well-being, you care about your partner's emotional well-being, and you care about your relationship. If there's fighting going on, then get help to find a different way to resolve the issues at hand. And yeah, that's my recommendation to you. Ooh, sorry, I got blurry for a minute there. If you want to talk with me about it, you're welcome to. You can DM me. And I honestly, I don't have anyone else to recommend because I don't know anyone else who works with the framework that I work with, which is that we are, it starts with the foundation that we are designed to partner with divine love. And so if that's not happening, and if we're fighting, I can tell you it's not happening. Then the first thing that has to happen is we have to develop the skills to align with our inner core so that we can start to line up for a connection with divine love. That won't happen immediately, and that's fine, because there are many beneficial stages to getting a deeper connection with yourself on the way to opening a connection with divine love. So the main thing is connecting with yourself in a real way that you can feel, and then finding from that place how to take all the pressure out of the communication so that you can find flow, authenticity, honesty, realness. It's not about pretending. It's not about trying to fix things. It's not about performing or forcing yourself into an idea of what you think fulfillment looks like, or forcing your partner into an idea of what you think fulfillment looks like. It's all about finding the natural flow of authenticity, which is what allows joy and connection to flow easily in relationship. And I don't know anybody else who works that way. So I can only recommend myself. Sorry about that. Eh, if you want to know more about that, or if you want to look at your situation through that lens, then shoot me a message. All right. Take care.